Kifaro.
Kifaro. Yes.
Maybe give you a few minutes to.
Because now, since we're on the same side, you know,
Look, but when they read the bundle of information, say you're the one who requested, you're the one who requested.
all right. So we'll just put a pause on the time as the parties step out for a bit to sort out some technicalities with their matter, and then they'll be back.
Okay.
Mr. MC, I'll hand over to you. 10 minutes.
Thank you. I saw the way Sincere walked out. She's sincerely not happy. You get it? Nazaripa slow. I have no idea what just happened. I just know that Kifaro outside. Sorry about that. Can somebody explain to me what just happened right now? Peterson. Yes, Peterson? Good memory. Can you explain to me what just happened? For the guys who don't know what happened right now.
Okay, I think, good afternoon. From what I picked, you know, in any particular dispute, there are two sides. So I think if I was very keen, probably the information given could have been, especially the confidential information, people are arguing from the same point. You know, supposed to have different, if you're two parties who are in a disagreement, the confidential information you have should be different from the other party. And that's what you're going to use even when you're arguing your case. There's that confidential information which you use at your interest, at your advantage. Sometimes when you realize the information you have, probably the other party knows the information you have, sometimes it's very difficult even when you're arguing your case. I think that's what I picked from my, yeah.
Thank you. Let's clap for him, please. The only thing I picked was Kifaro. You're from Kifaro? Yes. I'm also from Kifaro? Yes. Let's go outside. In Nigeria, they settle with blue. You can't okay, as we wait for Kifaro to fix their issues. But that name Kifaro, it's a brand somewhere, right? I've seen it somewhere, Kifaro. If I'm not wrong. Okay, now let me go back to Nazarene. The watchers of the competition. Reverend Father, Kifaro, you good? I like your bow tie, by the way. Your suit is meant. Hey, John Oxford collection. Yagedorai. Hey, Africa, we wear rubbish. I think Gucci were happy. Wait, there's somebody I saw when I was sitting down. I was shocked he's a law student. And you would agree with me, you also be shocked when I bring him out. Hey, I stepped outside. I've seen him. Hey. Halalale hole. Wewe ni lawyer pia. Bro, how are you? You good? You do law? You do law? You don't? Oh, you're just passing by. What course do you do? BCom. Yeah, makes sense. You do law? You're sure? First year? Yes. See, you're calm and relax. Relax, bro. I'm not asking questions. You do law. What year? 4th year. Hey, come. Let's go and mediate. Come here. Let me and you mediate. I'll be Kefaro, you'll be lion share. Let's go. Let's go. This is your time. See, this is life. Your employer might see you. I like his glasses. Employ him. Let's go. You already did. You've mediated before. So if I ask you some terms, you can respond. What was that question I asked? What is law of thoughts? 4th year. You're graduating soon. Yeah, okay. Law of thought is a unit. Thought is what can be defined. Perfect. Define thoughts.
A wrongdoing against a person or an entity.
A wrongdoing against a person or an entity. Is that right? Hey, is that right? Yes. You didn't say yes. That means you don't know. Uncle, stand up. Hey, look at him. It's like, hey, Mungo, this idea. Sorry, let me pass. Sorry. Hi. What's your name? Ibrahim. 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year? 3rd year? That means you know things. Good. Let me give you a scenario. Then you tell me what will happen in a court of law. For example, I'm walking by myself. Then somebody touched me, and I respond with a slap. Who is on the wrong? Who is guilty? Me, for returning a slap. That was provocation. He provoked me. Hey, clap for him. Hey, clap for him. Second case. Don't worry, I'm preparing for the future. If I caught my girlfriend in another man's house, then I catch the man and beat him. Then he almost died, but did not die. Who is on the wrong? That person that stole my girlfriend. If I catch that guy today, he's dead. I will beat him until he wakes up. Let me stop this side. I've seen my friend. Sorry. Good day, sir. I'm sure you're not doing law. I can bet my life you're not doing law. What course do you do, sir? Mass comm. Stand up. So they can see the difference between mass comm and law. Stand up. This is a typical. No, put your bag in front. Let them see mass comm standing. Sir, sit down, bro. Mass comm student. Who else again? We have a special. Please, Ayub, come outside, sir. This guy is a special friend of mine. Please come outside, sir. Clap for him. Ayub Okayo. This is one of the smartest law students I know. That is true, right? Thank you. Please come outside, sir. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. I just need these young freshers to know who you are. When this guy was doing mediation, you guys were still in high school. This is Ayub Okayo. Hey, have you not seen him before? You're too excited. He's married, by the way. He's married. The way you're looking at him, relax, breathe. Yeah, this is Ayub Okayo, a former student at African Azan University, one of the pioneers. Whatever you're enjoying today in law school, this is the man behind it. Kibi, unasikia? Reverend Father, can you hear me? So Ayub, I'm going to give you the mic. You say something to this law student. Yeah, he recently just got back from the States. He went there for his master program, and now they've had States. See ya. He's married, auntie. See the ears of your neck. You've had States. So I'm going to give you the mic. You say one or two things and advise these upcoming lawyers.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Ebuka. I think that was overstating my CV. My name is Ayub Okayo, as you heard from Ebuka. I'm an alumni of African Nazarene University Law School. I graduated in 2019. This event, it's of much interest to me. It's one of those, I would say, things which molded me to become who I am. I participated in a number of activities of similar nature, moot court competitions, and representing my school, my country in different places. So as he said, I've just finished my master's degree. I did 2 masters at the same time, one in international commercial law from Griffith College, Dublin in Ireland, and another in international corporate governance and financial regulations from the University of Warwick in UK. So it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to learn from these experienced mediators and distinct practitioners who are ministers, and those who are from African Nazarene University, and those who are from different universities, but they are still trying to figure out whether to join this kind of activity. I will tell you this is for your advantage. If you happen to join a mediation moot, an arbitration moot, or maybe a moot court competition, it will really sharpen your oratory skills, research skills, and a lot more is there for you to explore. So I look forward to interacting with all of you from Nazarene, from other universities, during this competition. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You guys heard what he said. He did 2 master degree at the same time. Ordinary degree here is stressing you. We shall quit. You want to go back home? On a reverend, who is it texting? Hey, you have a girlfriend? You're a dangerous man with your smile. There's one common misconception. Oh, I think it's, brother, how are you? This is another reverend father. You're sitting behind each other. Do you want to get on to preach here today? My friend. How are you? All my friends are hiding their face today. I'm not going to call you. Auntie. You work with ICC? Hey, already? Fresher? ICC, how? For what do you do there? Oh, you carry banner for them. Oh, makes sense. Because how would they employ a fresher? She carries their banners to events. Makes sense. Oh, she's a legal researcher. Miss Naz, how are you? Oh, yeah, I was somewhere before. It's a common knowledge. I don't know for JQuat. JQuat. I like this university a lot. Uncle is serious now. Good, sir. In JQuat, this is not law related. What I want to ask? What's the population of single people in your law school? In Nazarene, all of them are single. Same case. We are still waiting for them? Yes. Okay. Same case. So I'm guessing you're single, right? Let me help you. Go outside. Let me look for Nazarene girl for you. At least you'd have won something from this university. Hey, you cannot go back without winning anything. You're fine. It's okay. Uncle, you good? Hey, you're a lawyer. You're not. Lawyers are very bold people. Why you guys? You're single? Yes. I clap for her. It's not easy to say that. Yes. Stand up, go outside. Let me help you. Let me look for a modern lawyer. Hey, all these ones are not rubbish. Let me see. Let me see. Hey, bro, stand up. Let me see your height. I want to see if you're within height frame. Stand up. You are short somehow. Somehow. No. You cannot help me. Let me see. When all the men in law school are short. Bro, stand up. Let me see your height. You are shocked I called you. Stand up. Let me see your height. Let me see your shoes. Your shoes are shining. That we do. Come outside. Go outside. Go outside. Yeah, so that they can pick your camera with your face. Oh, not me. The guy on your next, stand up. Bro, stand up. Let me see you. I'm trying to help. You're tall enough, but you're skinny. Not really. You're a hungry lawyer. I'm looking for a well-fed lawyer. Are we ready? Not yet. Bro, stand up. Stand up. You're tall, but you seem shy. Are you shy? Not that much. Go outside. Let me see if you're shy or not. Just go outside. Go outside. Let's go. So you're already falling down. You want me to see your suit? I have seen it. I'm not going to call you. Just stand here. We have the Dean of Law School, Professor Reed, our DVC. Welcome, sir. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. So I was looking, sir, your department, they raised a concern to me that they are suffering. They said they are all single, so I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to look at the men here. Most of them are short, not well fed. So I'm trying to balance. Yeah, just remain. The lady from JQuat, even JQuat have the same problem. So I think it's a law thing. It's a JQuat, lady, kindly, just come with me. Don't worry. At least you tell your mom, I'm online. Watch me. Yeah, okay. You guys lost. You don't want to win a man or a woman. Are you dating? No. Hey, how are you guys happy and single? I've always wondered. I saw somebody will post, single and happy. Rap is a lie. It's a lie. You're single and happy? Lady on black? You're single or happy? Both impossible. Choose one. Say that's single or unhappy. Or your ID. You're already losing your ID. JQuat, they said no, they don't want anything. Wait, Strathmore is outside. These are serious people. They don't have time for relationships. Wes is here. No. Hey, you're already wearing red. Is it Valentine? You're working hard. They're coming back. So, hey. They're coming back. You're very lucky. I'll help you later. Let me get back to work. Just keep praying. I'll get back to you. Lawyers. Very hard people to date. Kifaru. You guys want me to introduce you again? No, just come inside. Sir, I introduce them again? No, because they are waiting outside for me to call their names. Sincere is ready. Sincere, welcome. Chege, you're fine. I can't wait for you to to do your best. No. I like the way you were mediating. All the best, bro. So have we solved our Kifaru issue? Okay, that is resolved.
Thank you, Oga. Let's just give them a few minutes to confer with the judges, with the mediators, sorry. We're good to go. Okay, so they'll pick it off from the introductions. Your time starts now.
Mediation situation. I am counsel for Kifaru. I'd wish to introduce.
Thank you so much, Tembo. I think that is proper that you get the mic. Okay. Thank you so much, Tembo, for yielding the floor to me. Good day to you all. My name is Adeline Tausi. I am the credit manager for Kifaru Finance Limited, but for this session, feel free to call me Tausi. And I do confirm in my capacity as the credit manager that I do have authority to settle.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Safari Ndofu Shem. For purposes of this mediation, you can refer to me with any name that you're comfortable with. And I'd like to confirm that I have the authority to settle this dispute as well. And I'd like my counsel to introduce himself.
Thank you. My name is Wangondu Tembo Chege. You can refer to me by either of the three names. I'm the legal counsel representing Mr. Simba.
At this juncture, we'd like you to give us your opening statements.
Thank you, Faith and Quincy. We appreciate the fact that you are the mediators today. We want to underscore the fact that we believe in your expertise and confidentiality. We look forward to invoking your guidance to help us reach a settlement. Thank you, Cynthia and Tembo, for agreeing to come to this mediation table. Today, I'm going to represent Tausi and Kifaru Limited at large as their legal counsel. Part of what I'll be doing is representing their interests from a legal standpoint, advising Tausi on the ramifications of the decisions we make on this table. I'll also chip in to attempt and give solutions that will help us reach a win-win situation, keeping in mind that this is a party-oriented way of settling dispute. Tausi will talk more about the issues and interests affecting her. Tausi?
So, thank you so much. I think, and it is very important to understand, as just to echo what the mediators have said, that this is mediation, that we come and seek an amicable solution. So first of all, we want to thanks and extend our gratitude, Safari, and counsel here, for accepting our invitation to this table today. The mediators, just as my counsel has said, we also thank you, and we seek your guidance and your expertise today before this table. Now, as we all understand that peace is not the non-existence of conflict, it is rather how we cope with this conflict. So I do understand that, Safari, there are some issues that have brought us before this table today, and that we want to resolve them at the end. Just to give my understanding and my side of the story, of which, Safari, you can later chip in on, is that this is not the first time we have sat together across a table. We have sat in many instances because you have worked for our company, that is Kifaru Finance Limited, for a period of 25 years. So we have been with you for the longest time. Now, Safari, you have had this, when you were working in our business, so to say, in our company, you had this good relations with people. You did have the reputation, or so to say, the social capital among the people. You were a very liked employee of our company. Now, Safari, we do understand that one of the issues, so to say, that have brought us before this table today is that after you exited from our company, you went ahead and founded your own business, and now you wanted to finance your own business. And one of the loans, one of the companies, so to say, that you rely on loan taking is our business, Kifaru Limited. And there you wanted to seek a loan, but then as Kifaru Limited, I believe that we did not have that amount of money. So you decided to approach Chui, if I'm correct. Yeah, Safari?
Yes.
Yeah, you decided to approach Chui Commercial Limited Bank to cater, so to say, for the 60% of your project. Now, between banks, we do communicate so that and as the mediators, you can agree, you need to guarantee a person before they take a loan. So Chui Commercial Bank approached us, and I believe there were some issues that arose, and by these issues that arose, you found yourself listed in the Denny Credit Reference Bureau for the 3 non-performing accounts. Because of this, you wanted to institute some legal proceedings. But then I think that because we have been with you for the longest time, Safari, I saw it fit that we call for this mediation table, because I don't think, with my progressive counsel, we don't think that litigation is really the best way to go. And so we invited you today to this table, and probably you could actually color on your story.
Okay, thank you very much. Pardon?
Tausi.
Okay, thank you very much, Tausi, for setting a very favorable environment for me to meet you here. I mean, before you even suggested this mediation, I could not look you in the face because I have felt a lot of pain, especially considering the relationship that we've had. Just for your context, Quincy and Faith, I am a very respectable businessman. And as Tausi has been alluding to, I have impeccable people skills. So as you can tell, any room I walk into, most of the time, people are more than willing to welcome me. And to this effect, I have maximized on my talent, so to call it, and I have been able to establish a business that has run beautifully. And one of the ways, because my business has grown so much, I even had to get loans to ensure that I'm able to run my business. Now, recently, I received a deal from the county government with regards to constructing approximately 1,000 low-cost houses. And I was very excited. And, having worked for Kifaru for the last 25 years, they were my first option when I thought about seeking a loan to be able to perform my contract with the county government. But because they did not have the capacity to finance me, I chose to seek out Chui Bank. Now, of course, I understand all the technicalities that happen with regards to sharing information across banks and creditors and everything, because I have worked in the banking business. However, when Chui told me their decision to withhold their loan, I was frankly shocked. And once I learned the reasons for why they want to withhold their loan, my heart broke instantly. So apparently, Ms. Tausi had told the Credit Reference Bureau that I had 3 non-performing accounts which, to be honest, I am not even privy to. I do not understand in what sense, in what world, really, I would have non-performing accounts, considering my status as a businessman and all the profits that I bring in and the cash flow within my different business accounts. Therefore, following the information that they released to the Credit Reference Bureau and consequently Chui Bank, my loan was withheld. And on top of that, you see, considering the fact that everyone, I'm thinking, most of the people know me, You see, it does not sound good in the public eye, even when the county government asks me or when they try to follow up about performance of the contract and they realize that apparently I have bad credit score. As you can tell, this has really affected my reputation. People are starting to question my integrity. People are wondering if I'm just a liar or if I'm actually a prudent businessman. And so, naturally, my first interest that I deliberately want to be addressed during this mediation session is to be able to discuss clearance of my name and my reputation at a large extent, and consequently clearance of my credit status, because I believe that is an inaccurate representation of my actual finances. So that is my first interest. And my second interest is with regards to the financial implications. Like I said, I need to perform a contract that is a matter of urgency for the county government with regards to building the low-cost housing. Therefore, following the delays that I have faced with the credit issues and even me being eligible for a loan, at this point I'm not even sure where I'm going to get the finances. So I'm hoping that during the course of this discussion, I will be able to understand at least, or I'm hoping that Mr. Usi will offer me solutions within that regard. Now, I'd just like to emphasize the fact that having worked for Kifaru Bank for the last 25 years, I actually do enjoy their company. I think they're a brilliant organization, and I am very grateful for your contract of employment. I mean, you gave me the opportunity to expand my horizons. I started as a bank teller, and I eventually became a bank manager. So when they requested for this mediation session, I was also very keen to be able to accept it, because as much as I was considering instituting a legal suit, I also wanted us to have an amicable settlement towards this issue and to be able to discuss it. So I'd also like to just confirm that I'm here because I believe we can come to a solution, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. And I hope that we'll be flexible in our discussions, and that even the solutions that you offer me will be prudent and will be able to fulfill all my interests effectively. Thank you. I think at this point I'd like my counsel to espouse on some of the issues that arise, especially legally, because I believe that understanding will influence the trajectory of this discussion.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. Safari. Thank you very much, mediators, for your introduction and even setting such a genuine atmosphere. Allow me to just take off from what Quincy mentioned and just to align it with the interest that I hold with here. You mentioned that the essence of mediation is to have a free, fair, flexible, and even friendly outcome. And that's the reason why I even advised my client, after seeking, going to court, I also advised my client to not put down the offer that you made for us to settle this dispute with mediation. Once again, I'd just like to remind you my name. My name is Mr. Wangondu Tembo Chege. You can refer to me using either of the three names. There's so many legal implications that have arisen because of this, let me call it opaque contract between the two parties. But as counsel mentioned, I do not want to dominate this conversation. We are just here to advise my clients on the repercussions that arise, and also even the agreements that they'll make today, from today on. Because I believe that Madam Tausi and Mr. Sincere here did not reach where they are today by dwelling on the problems, by looking at the solutions that may come from this. And that is why my role here is just an advisory role, not to dominate these discussions, and also to furnish you, as Faith you mentioned, to be a tour guide, I believe Mr. Simba as well, to direct these people in this jungle of legal concepts and legal issues that arise in this discussion. Thank you. And actually, before I forget, I'd like to reiterate the interest that my party holds, as that will also in the rank of our priority. The first one being clearing the name of my client. Mr. Simba's name needs to be cleared, as he mentioned that he's a reputable businessman, and that's the first point, first interest that we hold to high regard. Second interest is to discuss the financial implications that arose due to this dispute. Thank you.
I think having elaborated at least on our interests, at this juncture, we'd like to proceed and at least establish the agenda for our discussion.
I think that it is prudent that before we continue, that we may have the mediators kindly just simplify, or rather mention the stories that I've had. So,
summary, we have noted your interest, we have noted your wants and your needs. And mediation is very interested with not the legal interest, as you may well know that. And that's why we are asking you to fully take advantage of whatever mediation has to offer. So while we had your interest and most of the issues that you're going to take them to the agenda, the things that stood out for us from Kifaru is that there is an issue on the reputation of non-performance, and this has accumulated to the legal proceedings that you talked about. While Cynthia talked about the same non-performance, this has affected her integrity in terms of acquiring the loan from Chewy Bank. You also stated that you are very interested in clearing your name and your reputation, and that is also this is related to the credit bureau. Your counsel mentioned that you have an issue that will be discussed in the agenda that is concerning the financial implications. So as we go ahead and set the agenda, we would highly advise and recommend that both parties contribute to the agenda so that we can all pick whichever is the easiest and move forward while solving the agenda. It should also be noted that while we proceed and come up with an agenda, while we solve each issue, we will be entering into partial settlements. And this means that even if we don't have to complete all of the issues on the agenda list today, we will have a later date when we can complete all of the agendas. So be rest assured that the conflict mountain in the room, the big elephant, is coming to an end today. So we can proceed and set the agenda.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Faith, for that. I think you have said about addressing the elephant of the room. Now, the elephant of the room, in our perspective, the agenda that we would like to be listed, so as to say, in this table, and we can even hear your agenda so that we can come to the amicable solution. We would love to talk about some promises that we will make, but for the sake of this agenda, we would love that you term them as commitments. We would love to list our commitments. Second on our agenda is on the issue of compensation. Third and last in our agenda is on the issue of maintaining the bank-client relationship that we have with Safari.
Okay, so thank you so much for directing guys to how you'd like to set the agenda. I think one thing that is a priority for me and one thing I really am keen on during this mediation session is to clear my name. I hope you can understand that that the misrepresentation, because my counsel gave me that term, I think it's a nice one, the misrepresentation of my bank information to the Credit Reference Bureau is the one that has affected my ability to acquire loans. And like I said, I do need assurance that I am able to get loans, because previous to this information, there was, I would always walk into any, banks were very willing to grant me loans. So I hope you can understand that it is of paramount importance to me that at least before we go on, we can discuss how we can clear my name and how we can clear the credit status, because it is, like I said, a misrepresentation of the actual facts. And considering the fact that you mentioned compensation, and with that aligns with our financial implications, then we do agree that it should be part of the agenda, and it could follow after we have discussed the possibility of clearing my name.
Very well, sir. I realize again, interest number one in your agenda, clearance of name and credit status. We would like to put it under the broader interests, commitments. As you'll see later in the discussion, that will be part of our commitments.
So just to make sure that I'm getting you correct, you want to discuss commitments, and under commitments you want to discuss clearing my credit status and clearing my name.
Yes.
Are there any other things you want to discuss under commitment?
Yeah.
Which are?
Under the commitment that we will explore, relating the exploration stage, we suggest things like the signing of a moratorium. We also have some initiatives that we are willing to take as a bank. That's because you see that as our client, formerly our employee, we do have your best interest. So even while we color this in our commitments, we have some initiatives that we are taking so that we can build back your reputation, because you clearly say that you want the clearance of your name and your reputation. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
So under our commitments, we are willing to address this issue very rigorously.
That is agreeable with me. So we can have our first agenda as commitments,
Yeah.
Yes.
but in considering the other commitments that you'd like to discuss, I'm hoping that you can, you're willing to prioritize the clearance of my name and my credit status before I hear your solution.
That's agreeable. Yours will take precedence.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Now, over to you, Faith and Quincy. Would you kindly highlight to us the order in which we are going to discuss this agenda?
So from the from the order of priority, we will start with the mending of the relationship of both parties, followed by the commitments, and then the compensation, and in that order.
I think I'd just like to clarify that our relationship, the mending of my relationship with Kifaru Bank, which I'm really looking forward to, is heavily dependent on the performance on clearing my credit status.
Very well. Now, the commitments will start. We shall then talk about compensation, which in your wisdom you call financial implications. Then we'll talk about future bank-client relationship.
So just to ensure that we're on the same page, and the future of the bank-client relationship, you intend to discuss my relationship with you as a bank, as a client, since I use your bank?
Yeah, we're in business, so
Okay.
you know what we do in business.
Right.
Yes. So at this juncture, having discussed, having itemized the agenda, I want us to allow Tausi to maybe address the question of commitments. Tausi?
Thank you so much, Tembo, for addressing that. On the first issue of the agenda, and this is an engaging session, so kindly feel free, Shati, when you want to engage me. So we have the first, which is the commitments. Now, as you earlier stated, when you were giving your side of the story, you elaborated and emphasized on the need to clear your name and your reputation and to reinstate your credit status, because now we see that it is affecting your business. Before that, we talked about your reputation. You said when you walk into a room, people are pulled towards you because of your good nature. And we have seen this because we have been in business with you. And now just to highlight on the commitments, so as to say, so that we can get to an understanding, because that is what we wish to do in this session. One of the commitments that we are stating is we propose a stimulus relief package. This stimulus relief package is under the, let me just give me a minute, the Credit Reference Bureau listing relief. I shall refer to the stimulus package as the Credit Reference Bureau listing relief. Now, where does this come from? This commitment that we are making is commitments to Mr. Fari here, that we want to reinstate your reputation, as you have said, that is very important to you. So by this package that we are presenting to you today is that we seek to actually, as a company, follow up with the CRB. Allow me to call it CRB from now on. We are willing to follow up with the CRB so that we can get your name removed from the list of the defaulters, so that I think then this goes ahead to provide you with relief. Because now you see that your reputation, I think, will be in a better position, Mr. Fari.
Yes, I agree with you, especially with regards to collaborating with the CRB with removing my name from the list. However, it is to the best of my knowledge that Kifaru Bank is the one that fashioned the CRB with this information. So I presume that this is an error on your end, and I'd like to understand how that occurred before we move to the Credit Referencing Bureau. I'd like to understand how that error occurred, and I'd also like to understand so how it occurred on your end. Now, what are you willing to do about it? I mean, first of all, I presume, having worked in the bank as well, you'd have to rectify that on your end before you even propose it to the CRB. So I'd like an assurance that that rectification will be made, and perhaps today, if I check, I should be able to see that that's not the case anymore.
So thank you much, Tausi. Before I yield the floor to the council, I have heard you, feel that you have been heard, and that I commiserate with you when you talk about the reputation, and you want to discover why and how you were found in the first place in the listings. I think maybe council can probably add on that.
Thank you. What happened in this scenario is, rather, what usually happens when clients go to seek loans or loan services from banks, they usually check the credit reference to see if you are bad, if you do not pay your debts. We wish to tell you, and we wish to let it be known to Faith and Quincy here, that we are not aware of any factual scenario that might have led to you being listed to the CRB. To the best of our knowledge, we usually clear clients who have paid all their loans. And Safari here is a client who pays her loans. That is why, it caught us as an element of surprise when your lawyers served us with papers, court documents that we have to appear before judge to discuss this issue. Tausi has said that we value your interests very much. You are one of us, and you succeeding out there means we are nurturing, the talent we nurtured is succeeding. I mean, you make people want to come to work with our bank because we produce very great men and women. At this juncture, on the question of clearing your name, we'll undertake to do that. But also realize, you know how we usually operate, that 30 days, a 30-day notice is usually given to a client, informing them that a certain loan enterprise came to search up your credit history, and we have released the credit history to them. That did not happen, meaning we do not know what led to this situation. We are just in the blue. And maybe you want to say something about that, Tausi?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Simba. Now, just as to answer your question, Safari, that you highlighted, or the how and the why, and I think that Mr. Simba has elaborated on that, and I will not wish that we spend a lot of time here. The how and the why of this case is that we are willing, with the stimulus package that I have just suggested, we plan to follow up. You know that the milk has already been spilled, your name has already been found here, the bank, your bank, so to say, or your credit is in jeopardy already. But then now, as a bank, we are providing you with a solution, and probably it's the first solution of the day, that we seek to give you the stimulus package and get your name removed from the listed defaulters. So maybe what do you have to say about that, Safari? Is that in order?
I just wish to clarify that, to be honest, I actually accept your offer for the stimulus package. That is okay with me. My only, I feel like where we are not having a meeting of minds is that I would like an acknowledgement of the fact that, as Mr. Tembo had alluded to, I do pay my loans.
You do.
Therefore, as much as you may not know the circumstances that led to my information being misrepresented, it happened on your end. So I just want an acknowledgement of that at the very least, or that a mistake did occur on your end. Perhaps you don't know the technicalities of it all, but since it is a misrepresentation that occurred, I'd like at least I'd like the acknowledgement of that, and of course, just for matters prudence, an apology, to be honest, not just to soothe my heart, but also to show that Ms. Tausi is also very willing to be able to accept any faults that may have occurred on Kifaru's end. And then following just that assurance, at least for me, then I am able to embrace the solution that you're offering for the stimulus package. However, there's a brief issue that comes in because as my counsel had advised me previously, and I'm about to let him elaborate on this, for matters where there was false information that misrepresented me and that affected my view in the public eye, and that resulted to some sort of loss, I am bound for compensation. So I know that this sort of like feeds into the second point, but I just also want to know, at least from the get-go, if Kifaru Bank is willing to compensate me at least for reputational damage separately before we discuss reputation, and perhaps Chege can expound on that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sidma, Mr. Safari. For your guidance, Mr. Tembo here has mentioned that we ambushed them with a bundle of documents. And I'd just like to guide you to offer my services as a tour guide, and as you mentioned, on the problem we were facing here. The first problem was to do with, as they said, we published Mr. Safari's name, and he ruined his reputation and his integrity, and that amounts to defamation. Defamation, for a result of defamation to be held, 3 principles must be met. That is, it has to be a false statement, it has to be published to a third party, and the individual, that is Mr. Safari in this case, has to suffer harm. I acknowledge the fact that they say they don't know how it happened, but sadly, in Toshia's claims, intention to such claims is immaterial. Another issue, another one of the documents that he mentioned was to do with negligence. On their part, they had a duty of care not to reveal Mr. Safari's confidential information, and they breached that duty by revealing it as much as it was false. So they defamed Mr. Safari, and they also, as Mr. Safari, as a result of that, suffered loss. But however, despite all these legal concepts, we are not here to get lost in a complicated circle of blame proportioning. And as Ms. Tausi mentioned, the milk has already been spilled. So we can only work on ways to move forward. We can only work on the future. And so now, as my client, Mr. Safari, mentioned, we are here to seek compensation. Compensation for tainting his name, for compensation for even ruining the integrity. Because as we mentioned, this information is passed through banks, I believe, passed through other credit bureaus. And now Mr. Safari's name has been tainted a bit. That is why Chui has withheld a loan. And I can only assume that other banks are not going to be willing to give Mr. Safari a loan because of that name. But we accept he didn't intend of that, but he still suffered a loss. The milk has already been spilled, and she has been burnt as a result.
Thank you so much.
Allow me just jump in
That's
a
okay.
minute to try and summarize what you're trying to say.
Yes.
You're trying to say that you have accepted the stimulus relief package that is being offered.
We are willing to accept the stimulus relief package upon acknowledgement of error on their end and receiving an apology to that effect, because there were even futile attempts when I tried to reach them to clarify the issue. So, and even a means of recourse with regards to that. I mean, what happens the next time we have an issue and I'm trying to reach you and then we're back to this mediation settlement. So my acceptance of the stimulus relief package is dependent on those reasons.
Okay. And the assurance of the apology that you want, is it written or is just word of mouth?
I think I want a public apology, not effectively to the general members of the public because my information, of course, is not there, but at least across all the bureaus because this is information that is shared across bureau to bureau, meaning if my information was misrepresented at point A, it's plausible that somebody at point P or Q knows of this information. So at least that apology can be oral, which in my presence, that will be directed to all the other bureaus.
So I'll just going to summarize that you receiving the package is dependent on the apology and the compensation for reputational damage. Yes. Which we are going to respond to.
Thank you so much, Faith. As you earlier stated when you were beginning, you called yourself a GPS. That is a tour guide to this mediation table, and I say that the work is being dispensed very well. Now, Mr. Fari, we have heard your claims, because I think before becoming a business person or before being an employee, you're a person. Personally, even as a credit manager, I do not love that. I wake up in the morning, I find myself listed, yet there is nothing that speaks to me. Mr. Fari, we also see that you have your well-operated accounts. You've been with us for a very long time. We see that your accounts are well-operated and you have a good credit history. So I think that you do understand that when you say that there's some errors on our part, even as a business, you get to acknowledge them. However, this does not provide an excuse. This does not just blanket the whole point. And Mr. Fari, in my capacity as the credit manager, I personally, and on behalf of Kifaru Finance Limited, we offer our sincere apology. We acknowledge the things that you have gone through. When you started, you said that you could not even face us. And I think that because of the good relationship we have, so Mr. Fari, kindly please, because you said you will accept our oral apology, please accept this apology, because we do not want to tarnish your name as a business person, and we do want to have and foster a good relationship moving on forward. Now, I think it is in order that the first commitment, that is the agenda, the suggestion of the stimulus package, we have already dispensed and offered a solution. So maybe Mr. Fari, you have something to say?
Yes. Thank you very much for putting yourself in my shoes. I appreciate the apology. I just, as soon as possible, I'm hoping that you'll be able to relay across all bureaus that the information that was provided was inaccurate, just so that I don't walk into any bank and there's some miscommunication on their end. Could I please get an assurance as to how soon you can communicate that to the bureaus and anyone who had access to this information?
I think in accordance with timelines that are there so that I can dispense this apology, I might kindly consult with my counsel for a few minutes, just 1 minute. Thank you.
Safari, we have deliberated on the timelines. I think 1 week will be sufficient to give the apology.
Okay, so Quincy and Faith, this is agreeable for me. I'm hoping that in a week's time, this issue will no longer be a problem anymore, and that at least my name will have been cleared, as well as my credit status. And I think you wanted, Ms. Tausi wanted to move on, but we haven't handled the issue of compensation for my reputational damage.
It is imperative that the question of compensation be the preserve of the second issue, compensation. When you arrive there, you'll raise all your compensational issues and we'll address them.
That's agreeable with me.
Before we continue, Faith and Quincy, as a show of good faith, Kifaru Limited wants to sign a moratorium with Deni CRB, and this moratorium will be in the nature of not listing anyone. In fact, clearing all the credit defaulters from the list, the CRB list, and then not listing anyone 3 months for a period of 3 months. just to allow people to, access the benefits of loans. We are in a very tight economic situation as a country, so it is prudent that we talk about that. Tausi, you want to address that?
Not to necessarily address that, but then thank you so much, Mr. Tembo. I think, and I think that it is in the best interest of Ms. Safari here and I that we get to move forward, because we have proposed the stimulus package to which you have agreed. We have agreed on the apology that will be issued within the period of 1 week. I think, and the signing of the moratorium. I think so that we can move to the second issue on compensation. Now, I think, Ms. Safari, you have yielded a lot of issues on the compensation where you feel you need to be compensated. So if you could kindly make us understand your side of the story. Why do you seek this compensation?
Thank you very much. And just for purposes, for context, Quincy and Faith, when it comes to compensation, now this is a very prudent matter for me because, like I said, this harm to my reputation has had a ripple effect on my other business dealings, as well as my ability to perform the contract that I entered into with the county government. Now, following the legal test that my council had been able to set out, we can see that there was a misrepresentation of certain facts, and they were published and they caused me harm. Now, just to be able to mitigate that harm is consequently why I feel the need to get to be compensated because of that reputational damage. Yes.
And also just to add on, not only her name, not only compensation, but also damages that it has cost us, because we have also suffered. We have not been able to fulfill as Mr. Safari mentioned, we had a duty imposed by the local government. They asked us to construct 1,000 apartments. So also seeking damage because we have not been able to access those funds, and that's only due to this misinterpretation of facts from Limited.
For the,
Can I chime in?
it's okay.
From my understanding for compensation, you are seeking to be compensated for your default in the performance of contractual obligation by the local government.
As a result of the reputational damage due to the misrepresentation of my credit score by Ms. Tausi.
Would it, do you find it prudent to maybe state the numbers? How much do you want? How do you want to, just subcategorize this compensation kind of?
So I had actually thought through this with my council, and in terms of compensation, I had an offer that I wanted to table to you guys, to you people. So as I've said, I have not been, at the moment, even because we've also not sorted the issue out with the other bureaus and the other banks, there's still a general assumption that I should not be awarded any loans. Now, because you have been able to take up the role you've had to play with regards to that misrepresentation of facts, I need finances, I need a loan to be able to start performing this contract that is very urgent on the side of the county government. Now, my proposal is that because I already had some sort of assurance from Chewy Bank for 60% of the loan, and this is based on the fact that after you clear my credit status, then they may consider releasing the funds of the loan. I still have a balance of 40%. So I am proposing that Kifaru Bank gives me that loan, the remainder of that loan, so the 40% of the total amount from the $4 million that I need to execute this. I'm proposing that I'm able to get 40% of that loan at a reduced interest rate. Now, once you ponder upon these considerations, then that is sufficient compensation on my end. Yes.
And I think just to add on that, for your benefit, Quincy and Faith, she has mentioned 40 partners, at least 40% of the loan, and also at a low interest rate. I know these are tough times, and as I've mentioned, we have suffered, Mr. Safari has suffered loss of reputation, the integrity has been tainted a bit. We also requesting at a low interest rate. At least I believe your interest rate is at 16%.
Yes.
We are requesting if it can be lowered to 8%.
I think that in line with the suggestions that you're making, I think it is at this juncture that we kindly ask for a private caucus with our mediators.
Thank you. Just for clarity, how long will the caucus take, Faith and Quincy? 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Faith and Quincy, for agreeing to this private caucus. Tausi has quite a number of issues, or maybe an issue, which he thinks, if not addressed, we cannot move forward. So, Tausi?
Thank you so much. So, one of the contentions that I'm bringing before this caucus today is that, first of all, thank you so much for coming to this caucus. They have made a suggestion on where we get to shoulder the 40%, but then you see that as a business, honestly, when we are suggesting the compensation, we only anticipated that we get to, or rather we get to negotiate on the compensations that they had asked when they sought the reliefs from court. That is the 200,000 for the special damages and the 300,000 for the general damages. I don't think that as a business we are in the capacity so to say, to offer the 40% or to give them a loan, and especially at the rate that they are suggesting, at 8%, that is too low for us as a business. So I think that is a matter of contention. So kindly, if Quincy here could probably, when they come, could you kindly relay our concerns so that you get them to understand where we are coming from, and probably maybe also if you could kindly give one of the solutions that we shall give. I think the solutions that we can give is that we get to renegotiate on the compensation, the one that we had anticipated. But then after, because as you see earlier, we have given the stimulus package, then that means that they will be removed for the list of defaulters. So after this happens, they can then ask for a loan and they can cater for their 40%. And then we'll just now come in to negotiate on the special damages and the general damages.
So from what I'm getting, the compensatory terms that you were aware of were the ones that they were asking for in the court. That is the 200 and the 300.
Yes.
And that's what you'd like to renegotiate on, not the 40% as the...
If I may rephrase, you feel that the 8% interest which they propose will stifle business and is not anticipated by the bank.
Yes.
And you would like for the issues which were discussed in the suit to be the ones which you're agreeable to, considering you are offering the stimulus package.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
So I think it will be in order that when they come back, we could kindly relay this information. Quincy could probably give them why we say that we cannot, or rather we are not willing to shoulder the 40% because we have already given the stimulus package. And maybe Faith, you could talk about how the issue that we wanted to talk about on the general damages and the special damages, if that is in order with you. Thank you.
So you have your full permission to talk about this?
Yes.
Okay, 15 minutes left in the session.
Okay.
Now, hello, welcome back. From our caucus, we have been authorized and allowed to disclose information. So, on the part of Faru Bank, they feel that the 40% funding at that interest cap of 8% will be too low, which will stifle their businesses. Their main concern is that they are committed and they have already offered the reputational correction and to restore your credit worthiness as a business person, and at the same time to remove your name or follow up the process of getting your name cleared by the CRB. Additionally, they are willing also to do a back trace to find out what error actually went on their side. And from their perspective, the 8% interest cap is going to stifle their business because they're in the business of moving money. Your feedback?
Okay, just to make sure I've understood what you said, Quincy, is that at the moment, Kifari Bank is not willing to finance 40%. Is that the case? Yeah. And they feel that they have already offered sufficient remedy, and that to this effect, I am not entitled to compensation?
Just to add, yeah. Kifaru Bank stated also that the compensatory terms, the ones that they were prepared to negotiate on this table, are as we understand that there was a legal proceeding, and the compensation term that you were looking for was 200,000 for the special damages and 300,000 for the general damages. And according to them, that is what they are willing to renegotiate on as compensation. Well, in as much as what my co-mediators added.
Okay, so they're turning down my offer.
Yes.
Very well.
And giving a solution in a manner of speaking.
Okay, then I think we'd have to discuss the amount of compensation that we need to get, especially because this, like you've said, it will take you perhaps a week's time to be able to clear everything, and time is of the essence for me. The more I delay performance of my contract on the county government side, the more I lose my credibility, and I might even be threatened to lose the contract as a whole. So considering the fact that a certain amount of time is passing before any practical, because we've only agreed in principle, to be honest, before the practicability of the enforcement of some of the solutions they've offered come to effect, I really need to start, I need to start the project as soon as possible. And that is why I had offered I had offered them my offer for them to be able to supply at least 40%. But if they're unwilling to do it on their end, perhaps I can seek my council's guidance as to how we can go about it at this point.
Just to refer to the metaphor she used, milk has poured and it needs to be, and we can't do anything about that, but it poured because it was boiling, and as it was boiling, it burnt my client. So now we need to redress the fact that she has been burnt. And that is why we were seeking the 40%, because there's an urgency to build these houses. Now, since they're not able, or they're not willing to offer us the 40%, the compensation, yes, can help us. Otherwise, other than that, we still have not a very good credit name, and you said you're going to fix that in a week. Sadly, a week is not a very good time. If you can maybe apologize publicly, as she mentioned, in a few days, even preferably in a few hours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tembo. So from what I'm getting is that you would like to renegotiate the time period that we had given for the 1 week. We get to shorten the amount of time.
Yes.
Okay, so if it is agreeable with you that if we decide to issue maybe the apology within 3 days, we could now kindly renegotiate on the general and the special damages, such that now you will be reinstituted, and then you can therefore acquire loans from other businesses. Is that in order, Ms. Safari?
That works for me, but now this agreement at this point, I feel strains our relationship, which you had expressed is an interest of yours that you'd like to maintain, because after giving you my offer and you turning it down, then I am able to infer that you're not willing to give me a loan, and a loan is basically funds that I will pay back. So because I feel that affects our relationship, then perhaps going forward, I don't know, I will have to withdraw as a client of your bank. and I still need compensation of the amount that you're proposing that we had previously that we had reached at when it comes for the litigation purposes.
But then, Ms. Safari, before you want to withdraw from being a client, when we began, we established the need for this relationship between two of us. We have been together for over 25 years. I don't think that this is something that we would just like to throw out of the window for this session. I think probably we can renegotiate on the 40%. On the 40% that you're willing, can we kindly increase the interest rates? Because you understand that this is a bank, that we are a bank and we offer credit, and you're also a business person. You do understand that it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to even when we want to process this apology that we want to process. So I think that it is important that we kindly renegotiate, because we do not want to lose you as a client, that we increase the interest rates to probably, because we offer ours at 16%, could we kindly maintain that 16%, but then we get to give you the 40% loan? Is that in order?
So just to be clear, at least what I'm getting, Quincy and Faith, is that at this juncture, Ms. Tausi, is willing to consider funding our 40% bulk of the loan. And I'm happy to hear that you're reconsidering it. But perhaps for matters compensation, maybe from the 8% that my client had proposed, the council had proposed, it's been a long day. Perhaps he could reiterate, he could advise me on the interest rate that would be agreeable, because 16% is basically maintenance at the very same interest rate, and that to me is not really compensation. If you're giving me a loan, money that I will pay you back at the very same interest rate that you'd give anyone that you have not harmed.
But then, before you continue, before Mr. Tembo you highlight, note that we have compromised on our part, and we have actually agreed to the 40% that we would have otherwise be adamant to give, because so many claims, you're not the first person, so to say, so many issues are brought before us. But then, because we consider you and we want to maintain that relationship, we have considered the 40%. So, Mr. Tembo, before you speak, I think that Mr. Farid is also very important to note that the compromise that we're making on our part, and this is a solution-based process. So I think kindly please consider the solutions that we are offering. Mr. Tembo?
Thank you. I've considered the solutions, and I believe mediators can correct me if I'm wrong. It's both our short and long-term goals to establish this burgeoning relationship. That's been there for more than 25 years. That's a long time. Yeah, and I came to know Mr. Safari just 5 years ago, and I thought it's a long time. But I'd like to talk about the 8% interest rate that I brought up. That 8% interest rate arose because we are now, because of the compensation and the damages that we were seeking. We're not going to be seeking it was about 500,000.
Yes.
We're not going to be seeking that. That is why we're reducing the interest rate. Otherwise, if the interest rate is the same, you need to pay us both the compensation and the 40%. Because we're paying back at the same interest rate. The compensation is now reducing the interest rate to 8%.
And just to clarify, Ms. House, it's not that we are unwilling to settle. We actually want to reach a settlement. And I agree with you that this is a solution-based process. Perhaps just for our interests, what we can offer is, we already know that I am in some sort of relationship with the county government. How about if I propose directing the county government's business so much so that the transactions, I'm not assuring you of it, but at least with part of the people that I know in the process of our contractual obligations, I'm able to at least implore them to consider Kifaru Bank when it comes to provision of financial services. That way I am bringing in the extra at least increased revenue on your end, and from there you could reduce that interest rate just slightly to 14%.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fari. We've heard you. I think that I think we can all agree with the mediators, Quincy and Faith, that that is a very good suggestion that you've given for you to direct revenue to our business. But I think that Mr. Tembo here, being the council, sorry, Mr. Simba, being the council, is in a better position to address on the interest rates.
Thank you. It is my understanding that Safari, you want all the money you acquire from the contract you have with the county government to be channeled to our bank.
Yes, any financial implications that arise from it, I will channel them to your bank. That way I'm bringing in business for you.
So now you're increasing revenue for our bank. Well, in the interim, it is your interest that the loan interest rate be reduced from 16%, which is the CBK rate, to 14%. Then, when that is settled, we are not paying any damages.
No damages. Because in this sense, you have compensated me, because one of the challenges I was facing was being able to finance the whole project, and I lacked the 40%. Now, since I will be able to get clearance of my name and possibly get a release of the funds from Chui Bank, then the remainder of the bulk, I was requesting that you're able to service me with that loan to that effect. So no compensation is paid.
Well, that is agreeable. 14% is fair, considering the amount of money you're going to channel to our bank. I mean, you're bringing business. We can give loans and we'll still earn. How soon is the 14%? How soon do you need the loan, maybe, if?
So, like I said, this is a matter of urgency for me, so I need the loan practically immediately or as soon as possible. So perhaps after this mediation because I can tell that we're moving closer and closer, we're inching towards a solution, we can always meet and discuss about it as to how soon you can release the funds of the loan, perhaps 4 days from now.
With the prevailing market situation, and for the purposes of legalities that surround issuing loans to clients, just submit, maybe you submit your papers, then we process, then we shall advise you in 4 days. Having said that, you realize you have a case against us in the Commercial Division, High Court. It is our request that that case be henceforth withdrawn. What say you?
Yes, considering, like you've said, this is a process of compromise. Now, considering all the concessions you've made to accommodate my interest, then by all means, I will be immediately withdrawing my case from the High Court, seeing that we've been able to come to a solution. Yeah, so I'm hoping you can tell that I'm also very willing to settle this and meet your needs as well, Mr. Osi.
So that one, having discussed the fact that you're going to withdraw the case, Faith and Quincy, we have seemingly dispensed with the third point in our list of agenda, the bank-client relationship. We have already established that we are going to have a future relationship with Safari, and the formalities and modalities of the loan will be communicated to council, who will in turn advise her accordingly. Yes.
Just to see if I get this clearly, for record purposes, I believe they have mentioned that in 4 days we will be getting the loan. So they'll go and deliberate, and within 4 days we will receive the 40%.
Mr. Tembo, in the words of my counsel, you will not, but we will advise you in line with getting the loan, because I think you also understand this, Ms. Safari. When you're processing a loan, when we take your documentation, there is a lot that needs to be processed. So this 4-day period is when we will take your documents, because we need to verify these documents. We need to analyze this, because we do not just give loans. And I think that after this 4-day period, if it is in line, because does not necessarily mean that your documents will be approved, but if your documents are approved, that is, which I believe they will be approved, speaking to your good reputation and your good score credit list. So I think that after this 4-day period, we shall advise you on maybe the way forward, which I think that if you're very confident in your bank account and your good credit history, then the loan shall be offered to you within due time.
It is said about relationships that do not tie what you can untie. Do not cut, rather, what you can untie. We have untied a knob, in my understanding. Or have we really established a future relationship?
Yes.
And we have now come to a peaceful agreement?
Yes, I mean, Mr. Tembo, rest assured, I have taken into consideration your willingness to meet my interest, and I have also taken into consideration the fact that you have been more than accommodative. So by all means, like I said, I will not only be redirecting business to your bank and referencing it far and wide, but I also intend to retain my bank, the accounts that I have under your bank with you. So yes, my relationship with you has been reestablished. And just for matters of clarification, I mean, it is already evident that I have banked with you before. That even in the event of loans, it is you. Kifaru Finances has been able to process my loans before. So I believe that I really am confident that after 4 days, I will be receiving a notification from you for the approval of my loan.
Very well. Just as a matter of clarity and clarification, Counsel, this is perhaps directed to you. The suit we have in the High Court Division, when are you withdrawing it? When do you plan to withdraw it? Maybe give us a time frame.
I believe that suit will also be withdrawn because I believe you understand all the processes in withdrawing a suit. Give me about 5 days and that suit will be withdrawn. And just redirecting it back to you with your guidance, Quincy and Faith, I believe in line with the second agenda, which was compensation. I just want to be sure because we lawyers like our things set in stone. We don't some errors of 0.1%, some funny errors. So to assure, just ensure we're on the same page, are we guaranteed of the 40, is my client guaranteed of the 40% loan? Because I want some guarantee to know the way forward from here.
I think I'm in the best position to talk about this because seeing that it is my business. Your client, Ms. Safari, I think we have already reassured you that we will yield the 40% to you at the agreed rate of the 14% that we were willing to compromise. Yes, I think that is in order.
Right, so just to ensure that we're on the same page, Quincy, just because we have to make sure that what is being said here is what is being conveyed. So we have come to the agreement that first of all, I acknowledged and accepted the apology that you offered at this mediation table, and that in a period of
4 days.
4 days or a week, did we renegotiate that?
Of the time period for giving
for
the
the
loan.
public apology.
For the public, 3 days?
Yes. So in a period of 3 days' time, at least the information will be released to anyone who interacted with my information, and at least I'll be able to receive loans. So thank you so much for making accommodations for me to that effect. And with regards to our second item in the agenda, which was financial implications, you have illustrated that you're willing to finance 40% of my loan at an interest rate of 14%. And, with this, I have given you assurance of redirecting revenue into your bank. And I think for the matter of the suit, we have agreed that through my counsel, I'll be able to withdraw the suit against you. Therefore, there will be no legal proceedings against the bank. Okay, then I think with that, since we are clear as to the findings, then I'm happy that we've come to a settlement.
Should we then confirm from the mediators that, from Faith and Quincy, that the factual situations we have in our papers are what you have in your papers, so that we proceed to sign an agreement that is accurate?
I will go first. While you were both doing the negotiation, we hate to interrupt the moment where parties are really coming to a settlement. So in as much as we laid back, we were following and we have followed so far, and we think when we began, we had 3 issues in the agenda. We had commitments. Commitment was broken into 2. That is the status of the credit and the reputation. And we had number 2, a moratorium that was from your side. Number 2 was on compensation / financial complications. And the third one was the maintenance of a bank and client relationship. From the notes that we have, and I will compare with Quincy, is that to secure, or rather to resolve the status of the credit and reputation, you offered a stimulus relief package. You also offered an apology, which is going to be public in 3 days. And we went straight to talking about the compensation for reputational damage, which...
Sorry, I think just before you move on, we accepted their offer for the stimulus relief package. Okay.
That's correct, yes?
Yes.
All right, so on the compensation terms, we're just double checking that you started at 8%, but finally renegotiated to 14% of 40% of the loan, and that is given to you once you present your papers, and you get the loan in 4 days. Okay.
Sure, I wrote my notes correctly. You said the 40% will get it in 4 days.
Yes. Once you present
Once
your
we present our
papers
papers
to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
The process for you. You are our special clients.
And additionally, you were going to channel financial aspects in the county to the bank for them to collect revenue. Okay. Finally, you spoke about maintaining the bank-client relationship, which led to the discussion on withdrawal of the case in the commercial division of the High Court, which again you said due to the, practicalities of the court, there has to be a process to be followed on that. So those are the notes that we have, unless my co-mediator has something to add.
So from the issues which are presented, on the commitment parts, my findings mirror my co-mediator's findings, in that there is a 3-day period upon which we'll issue an apology to the parties. Secondly, on the compensation, an additional point would be there are 2 aspects of reputation which have been damaged. Number 1 as a contractor, and number 2 as a person in the banking industry. And the recourse for this, per my notes for the reputation as a contractor, is that you will issue a public apology. Is that accurate? Yes. Number 2, in good faith, they will channel all revenue through your bank. Number 2, on the issue of reputation via the banking industry, you will fast track to rectify the error on the CRB, thereby clearing their name from the irregular listing. And in addition to that, you will fund them, you will give them the loan facility that they require of 40% funding, which is translated to 4 million at an interest rate of 14%. Is that accurate? Yes. And that is the agreeable. And in turn, merging the last point, which is on the relationship, you will withdraw the suit within 5 working days upon execution and releasing of the financial obligation after submitting your papers within 4 days. Yes. In light of all of this, if both parties agree to this, then we may proceed by signing the settlement agreement.
Yes, I think as we're in the process of signing, I'd just like to make my final remarks. Thank you so much, Tausi and Mr. Tembo, for, like I said, your presence here and also your flexibility with regards to catering for my interests. When I began this mediation session, I was feeling very aggrieved and a lot of pain in my heart, but I can say boldly that it's ending with me feeling very content, especially because you have been able to tender to my needs. And I'd also just like to point out that, in the interest of good faith, we're also very prompt in compromising and accepting your offer for the stimulus relief, just so that we can deal with the defamation matter. And also, we are also going to be very prompt with regards to withdrawing of the suit. So I'm hoping that even from your end, you can be able to trace the forms of compromise that we've made and also the concessions, just so that we have been able to come to this point, which is of settlement. So once again, thank you so much, and thank you for your guidance, Quincy and Faith.
Quincy and Faith, it is at this point that I wish to thank you for your expertise. When we started, we said we'll bank on your expertise, and true to your word, you've been experts in the process. We have since reached a solution. Safari, we look forward to having you and seeing you frequenting our banking halls down in Kijabe Street. Council, you agree with me that we now have to encourage alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, that they're effective, that they save a lot of time. I want to allow my client to make her final remarks.
So thank you so much, Mr. Simba. I think when I requested for this mediation, I came as an aggrieved person, and I also believe that you came with your grievances. And I think that at the end, just to echo what my counsel said earlier, that do not cut something that you can untie. And I think that the knot of this mediation has been untied. Mr. Safari, I do look forward to working with you, to continuing with this relationship that we have established. I mean, 25 years and more, that is a lot of time that we want to cut. So thank you so much, mediators. I think I cannot emphasize my gratitude to you, Mr. Safari. And I think that this, I think we can all agree, has been a very fruitful discussion. Isn't that correct? Okay. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much as well, for all of you. Thank you, Mr. Tembo, Mr. Simba, sorry, for helping me guide the mediation session with all our legalese and all our legal opinions. And even thank you for that, sharing that wonderful quote about untying a knot, and also working together, these collaborative efforts that you have all shown with the help of you, Quincy and Faith, to undo, wipe and clean up the mess that the milk caused. And thank you for all this.
So I will make concluding remarks, and then Quincy will pass around the mediation settlement agreement that will be signed by both parties. And just to reiterate what I said when we began, is that it was really important that we gain to, or rather hear from you that you have the authority to settle, so that towards the end of this mediation session that has been very fruitful, you get to sign and to have this mediation settlement being binding between both parties. And that means, you know, this is no longer going to court because you have mutually agreed through our assistance to come to an agreement. So in conclusion, I'd just like to point out something that probably was not very clear, but when we began, this was like a conflict mountain. So you both walked against each other when you began climbing, but when you got to the breakthrough, you realized that you both walked together down the conflict mountain. And that is a really beautiful experience, and I would highly recommend that when you go back to your banks, when you go back to your companies, you could highly advise that most of the cases do not have to go to courts to be resolved. You can all sit, just like we have today, and come to a resolution that has been very fruitful. And as you can see, your relationship has been maintained at the end. The conflict that was on the table has been also resolved. So just to conclude, yes, we would highly suggest that you take mediation very, very seriously. Thank you.
A round of applause for our participants. Ms. Tabitha, I'll invite you back to the floor to take it. That was a great job, guys. I really enjoyed that session personally.
Request the parties to go out so that the judges can score.
Okay, so. All right, if you guys can kindly just excuse us, and we give the judges a bit of time to score, and then you can come back for the feedback.
Yeah, we can all take a break of 15 minutes while the judges are scoring. Then we'll come back for the feedback and the announcement of the results.
Just like a new dawn presents new opportunities, at Africa Nazarene University, we create a platform for nurturing transformational individuals. We forge partnerships with key industry experts and practitioners to transform our teaching in order to ensure students acquire skills that they will implement towards solving societal challenges.
I truly believe that the biggest impact we can have in the world is by teaching people innovation and entrepreneurship.
We are teaching the people who will go out and discover new ways of solving problems, new ways of creating jobs, new ways of survival. And I believe this is what Africa needs.
Truly, what begins here transforms the world.
Start with our judges' feedback, and then the mediators will go last. As the master of the clock, I'll give you. Okay, I think you can. I'll give you all the time to give your feedback to the participants, since they're the finalists, and whoever has won this round is who will be representing Kenya in the ICC moot court competitions. Which side shall we start? Let's start with you, Rupert.
Hello, everybody. Hello, contestants. Well, congratulations. It was very enjoyable and very stimulating to watch you do your stuff, and a very high standard. I think I'm just... Turn me off. This is a bad sign. I think I'm just going to make a couple of comments, because there's 5 judges and I could see us being here till 6 o'clock. So just looking through my notes, I'm going to start with, because there was the names on the problem and then I have your real names, I'm a little bit confused. Adeline Tausi, is Tausi your stage name? So Adeline is your real name. So Adeline, you said, and I think this comes under the subject of building the rapport and the relationship with the other parties. It's just a small thing, but you said we acknowledge the pain that you have gone through. And I think in a process where it's not a real process, it's difficult to replicate how parties, and it doesn't matter if they are the biggest businessmen in the country or the world or your neighbors, the human emotions that feed into these negotiations, they're really why you use a mediator. So that acknowledgement, that kind of phrase is really important. And as a counterpoint, try and get away from that court-based mindset where you're sort of all buttoned up and performing and speaking in a certain way. So that was good. I like that. My second point, I guess, I'm afraid this is a slightly more questioning one. And again, this is for Okoth. Shall I call you Okoth? Okoth and Adeline. You seem quite determined to negotiate on the basis of a compensatory amount. And when the other side proposed a discount interest rate, you kind of shut the door. until the other side then said, well, I'll withdraw my business. Mediation is about, being creative. So don't go into the idea, we've absolutely got to have, we're happy to pay a sum of money, but it's got to be a sum of money. It can't be anything else. Got to be flexible. Because that was where things kind of turned a little bit. You got it back and you got to a solution, but that was a bit of a drop of the energy in the session. But well done.
So my comments will be very brief, and I'm going to refer you to the requesting party, this side, and the responding party, the other side. And first of all, you've done a very good job, so congratulations. You all deserve to win. That's what I mean. I like the opening statement by the requesting party because that was conciliatory. Always in mediation advocacy, we are negotiating, we're not fighting. Because even if we are lawyers, naturally we are gladiators, we are trained to fight. But when you're on that table, you need to always be conciliatory. Now, the parties worked very well as a team. In fact, you're supposed to work as a team, the client and the lawyer. You should make sure that you are supporting each other. The whole thing was masterfully done. Now, that's Sincere and her lawyer was very nicely being a character and demonstrating it very well. That was done very well, and you showed a lot of confidence. That's what I realized. For the lawyers, you illustrated the idea of supporting the client very well. That's what's required in mediation advocacy. Always let us not be bogged down by legal terminologies. They don't work. We wait for the courts for that particular instance. Now, some statements that were made that I understand very well the problem of my client by one of the side, which also very well, it shows that you are working as a team. So the counsel's role should be minimal. In fact, most of the talking should be done by the client because it's a client-centered process. And the lawyers should also ask for assurance on confidentiality. I didn't see any one of you insisting to the mediators that I hope that can be kept confidential, because there's a lot of confidential information we hold in mediation that really assists us to give us a free way to continue negotiating. Let's go to mediation with an open mind, even if we are negotiating. Remember, the parties are responsible for the ultimate results of the mediation. The parties themselves, not the mediator. We're there just to play around. So there was an excellent display of the mediation process by both the mediators and the lawyers and the clients. Now, I always prefer that once the client has finished speaking, then it's a lawyer now to do the summarize the statement, rather than if you do it the other side. Now, some of the statements that were made there, which I realized were very good, is something like, how we usually cooperate. You are seeking collaboration from the other party. Thank you very much for putting yourself in my shoes. That's also a process of empathy. We have a relationship that we do not want to harm. That's how we negotiate when we are in a collaborative manner. The other statements made by the councils, which were also very good, is my client is willing to work with the other side. That was a positive statement that encourages people to see that they are negotiating. The only thing probably I want you to do is work on brevity in delivery. Use fewer words, make each word count. When you pass your point as quickly as possible, the other party understands what you need and why you need it. And that's the purpose of mediation. Thank you. The rest we can compare.
As part of professional courtesy, I don't think it would be prudent for me to proceed without my seniors speaking. So I'll pass it to the other side for Caroline to speak. They have a mic, and then we'll come back this way.
There's a dispute with my height, and I should make up, so we don't need a mediator. So thank you very much. I, of course, have very much enjoyed, like the other judges, being present here and just seeing you going through the mediation. Excellent job to our mediators as well. I think as lawyers, we struggle quite a bit. There's that internal bit in us that is like what Senior Margarete has said, we are gladiators, we are rearing, you know. So for me, it was really exciting to see all of you shed that off progressively. I think every moment that we went on, I could see that there was a balance anytime, either consciously or subconsciously, I could see you trying to moderate that bit of forefront, and very well done. I also enjoyed the bit that you gave, like more consideration in terms of interests, as opposed to the, you know, like saying my client has a right, and this side has a right, we are a financial, we are, you know. And it was even exciting to see some of the things that you will never see out of the court process. Should you have come to court, I guarantee you there would have been no time to say, I am sorry, or I wish, or I empathize, you know. So that was really nice to see that coming forward. The advocates' expressions, I was really, I wanted to just see what are your expressions as you go on in mediation. What are you communicating to your clients? Is it an expression that you're giving them a go-ahead, encouraging them? Because if you're in a mediation session as an advocate and you are either lost, you don't seem to follow what is happening, sometimes all it takes is even just a nod from the advocate for the client to keep going. And I enjoyed seeing the relationship and the coordination with both teams, looking at their advocates and the advocates looking at their clients, sort of like giving them an encouragement to keep going. So I think it's very well done, and we definitely are taking this to the next level.
I'd like to say congratulations. I know it was not easy being the pioneer group to take on this daunting task of moot mediation. I know it's a new concept. I could see the legal mindset coming into play where you, like the fellow judges have said, it's normal for legal minds to want to win, you know, for your client, especially if you know that you have a case that is, you know, can win in litigation. But I was glad to see that kind of like take a back seat, and both parties being open to, you know, mediation, putting options on the table. It's not very easy, but I was glad to see that you are able to be open-minded and have that at the forefront. Thank you for the banter. I've collected some phrases that I will be using in my line of practice. Thank you for that. Thank you for the mediators for the work that you're doing. I think you really filled in the role in a way that, you know, can give a proper example to the generation that is coming up. And yeah, I think that's, for me, it's just to say thank you for the work that you've done. I don't want to repeat what the other judges have said, and continue in the same spirit. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. On my part, I know it's quite difficult to speak after 4 speakers, but at this juncture, I just want to join them in congratulating you. While I sat here, I saw how you exhibited your knowledge in this field, notwithstanding the fact that you're just students. I liked the conversation, how it was going. I liked the fact that you were willing to compromise and at the same time taking care of the interests of your businesses. I also appreciate how you used the confidential information. I think for me, this experience mostly I've been quite keen with the use of confidential information, and I liked how you displayed it during the mediation. Otherwise, I just want to wish you all the best. in your endeavors.
Much to our distinguished judges. We really appreciate you guys coming down and volunteering your time to help us judge this final competition. So thank you also to our mediators, Quincy and Faith. Again, we really appreciate you. And also Sam, thank you also for your direction. To the students, give yourselves a round of applause for a job very, very well done. And now, we'd like to call on Gordon to announce the results. Yes, the time has come.
Yes. Hey, time for results. Everybody's shaking now. Hey, but okay, it's okay.
Good evening once more. I think your time at the high table is over. I would kindly request all you to.
Please, let's clap for them.
I would request if we have male students from Nazarene University to help us remove these tables and chairs.
Reverend, let's go. Come and help me. Why are you assuming? The one that's looking for love, help. Let's go. Help us kindly.
Would you like us to
strong men.
Yeah.
Isaac, this is where you're supposed to help. Use your strength here. Don't just go to the gym.
You can give the DVC the table in front of him. The Nazarene team, are you here? You can help.
Hey, DVC is fine, sir. Isaac, you're sitting down. DVC is carrying a table. Do you want to graduate? Don't joke with your GPA. Come on, look at, hey, these young boys.
The Nazarene team which competed, are you here? Are they here?
The coach was up there with them. Can we grab them in a second?
Please do. The Nairobi University team which participated in the semis, are you here? Kindly call them. Kabarak, are we here? Strathmore, are we here? Thank you.
Isaac, please come and help me. Your GPA is going. You also want to graduate. What's your name? Simon. Don't worry. I will send your name to the registrar.
Yeah, so because you want to use this place for taking photographs, just slightly, because you want the space for photographs, slightly. Yeah. It's okay. Yes. Mr. DJ, it is that moment that we need some solemn music. Do you have it? Or some praise songs? can entertain while they're coming. Yeah.
So, as we wait for the result. Now, I'm not looking at the result. Hey, off that YouTube ad. You know, once I was told about the whole mediation, I had a very different idea of how it was going to play out. I was expecting the mediators to go at each other, like shouting, then shout, stop, order, your honor. I was expecting that, but this was very, very, very calm. Is this how it's supposed to be? That's calm. No shouting. They weren't talking to each other nicely. Sir, what's it? Simba, I like the way you, I think the mediation in Nigeria is different. There we go to war. We do not agree. They're back?
Yes.
Okay.
Nazarene team, are we here?
DJ, what is this? What are you playing? Gospel music, Christian University. We do not play these type of songs here. Are you from Nazarene, DJ? The Nazarene team, they are around.
Thank you very much. Asante sana.
DJ.
Mr. DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by thanking everybody who participated in this competition, all the way from the students, the coaches, the professionals, and the volunteers. I also want to very sincerely thank the University of Nazarene, Africa Nazarene, for hosting this event. I'm the happiest person on earth today. This dream, I had it from 2018 when I was attending a moot competition in Paris, and at that time we only had one African team participating. I was requested by Paris then, or they asked me, why don't we have African teams participating? So I requested the organizing committee if they could allow us to have an African chapter. That request was granted in 2019, and I went further to ask them, to request them, could we have this African chapter in Kenya? That request was granted early this year. That's why we are having the first Pan-African commercial ICC mediation moot in African Nazarene. What a coincidence. We ought to have conducted this competition late in November, and that would have given sufficient time to all the teams to prepare. It would have given sufficient time to the professionals to prepare. Unfortunately, we were informed by the ICC that we had to do it before the 4th of November. That is because we had requested that we would want to sponsor the winning team to compete in Paris next year in February. The registration is closing on the 4th of November. That's why we had to bring it forward. So we are very sorry for the competing teams because we had very difficult problems and you barely had time to prepare. Otherwise, I'm very happy that even with that little time, the element or the amount of preparation
and competence that I watched here or I observed was just above expectation. Thank you very much, the teams. In the semi-finals, we had 4 teams. That is Kabarak University, Strathmore University, Nazarene University, and Nairobi University. I'm not going to play around now this time with the results because I know. Yeah? What do I know? Yes? It's dangerous to play about with that. I'll be requesting Madam Juliana to come up here because you'll be presenting the award to the 4th team. And the 4th team in this competition, they did very well despite coming here without a coach. They did very well despite having 1 or 2 issues during the competition, despite the distance that they have traveled. Number 4 team in the competition is Nairobi University. You give them these ones. You have the bags. 4 of them each. Yeah.
University of Nairobi. Wow.
And 1 photograph with me.
But they said they traveled from far. Where is University of Nairobi again? You're from UN?
While watching all the teams, there's 1 team I always thought was going to be in the finals. They were, in my view, during the process, one of the best teams in the competition, but only 2 teams had to go to the finals. The second runners-up in the competition is none other than African Nazarene University. And I would request Dr. Duncan Ojuang to come and present the awards.
Hey.
This one and this one's. Yeah.
It's the way you guys are happy. That shocks me. On home ground.
All of them.
Well, so no party. No Paris to Korongai. Since we are in Rongai, let's manage that. Should I take a photo with them? No. Position 3, no. Let's wait for the winner. Thank you very much, Nazarene. Try again next time.
When a person of my caliber is standing here and I make a mistake, you're supposed to remind me that this is a mistake I've made. A suit of this nature, you button it when you're standing.
Sorry, let me hold your mic as you button. When a person of my caliber is standing here, you need to remind me too.
Now to the finalists. I couldn't hold it in that seat because these teams were good and you couldn't really see the direction it was taking. I was seeing Dr. Juang fidgeting and he eventually